Everyone is panicking. Are you ready? I'm sure a lot of you will be disappointed. So, with this new ordinance, what is the purpose of hiring a foreigner? Reasons why Filipino understudies cannot yet take over the work of the foreign national, if such be the case. So, one way or another, they have to be replaced. Well, I hope that these changes will be something good for the country, but hey, it's me, Rubeauti. In this video, I am going to speak about a big change. And maybe some of you might not like it. And maybe this is just the beginning of so many changes that will happen in the future here in the Philippines. Who knows? Maybe there will be more changes like this in the future. This change applies to foreigners who wants to retire here, and the foreigners or people out there from another country who wants to work here in the Philippines. We all know already that there are so many people who are planning to retire here in the Philippines simply because the life here is very simple. Other places here is like a real paradise. The people are very, very nice. It's so easy to live here. Even if it's like a little bit ancient still here in the Philippines, like the transportation and infrastructure, it's still okay because foreigners think Philippines is very cheap. It's very cheap to live here. The cost of living is very, very low, especially in the provinces. And because Philippines is, it's the life here is not very demanding, especially in the provinces. The life in the province is, I don't know, it's just very simple, it's very easy, it's very relaxed. It's not like you always have to rush, you always have to hurry, or you always have to think about tomorrow. No, in the province, really. This is the thing that I really feel so strong when I am in the province compared to here in the city. Here in the city, I feel like I'm always cramming. I feel like I'm always like, oh my gosh, it's 4 p.m. already. I didn't do anything. I was not productive. I'm like, I just went to work and now I'm lying down again. I didn't do anything. But when I'm in the province, you don't need to rush. You don't need to think about tomorrow. You don't need to think about, oh, I need to wake up early because there will be a lot of people again outside, and it will be difficult to ride bus. No, you in the province, I never feel that way. Well, the only complaint that I have in the province is really hot. I feel like it's so hot there compared here in the city. But aside from that, it's just so relaxed in the province. I feel like, when you're in the province, I feel like I get younger. Yeah, but here in the city, I feel like I get older because it's like always, I don't know, I always think I couldn't sleep even. So yeah, maybe you guys also feel like that when you're in the province compared to the city. But yeah, that is one of the reasons why there are a lot of foreigners who are planning to retire here in the Philippines. But I can say that before, Philippines is very open. Philippines is really open to any countries. It's very open to foreigners. But now it's suddenly changing. I feel like the changes are very very big and very sudden. It's like from this it flipped like this. And I feel like these changes that are happening here in the Philippines are now is just the beginning of something bigger. We don't know. Or maybe these changes that are happening now are just for the sake of the Filipinos or for the Philippines. I don't really know because now this is what I know. This is what we know. Some of you wishing to retire here in the Philippines may have to put your plans on hold, or maybe you will totally change your plans. Maybe you will remove Philippines in your options now because of these changes. Well, I hope that these changes will be something that will be good for the country. But let's see in the future what will happen. Okay, so I will begin with what happened with the SRRV visa in 2020. So I'm going to start with my friend's story. One of my foreign friends who is working here since 2018, if I'm not mistaken, he's working in a BPO company. He chose Philippines because he wanted to learn English. In the beginning, he applied to like 3D designing companies, like Japanese companies, I think. But he ended up working in a BPO company that pays really, really well. Better than a Filipino salary in a high position, even. So yeah, just a quick history of the BPO companies here. Actually, there are so many expats working here in the Philippines because they cover bilingual or multilingual accounts. And they are really, really paid well. So this friend of mine planned to retire here in the Philippines, which is, he is actually turning 35 this year. So there was this type of visa where you can apply for early retirement as early as 35 years old. I don't know if you know that, but there was this type of visa. He noticed that this type of visa for early retirement is already gone. It is no longer there. That was around October 2021 when he couldn't find the application for the visa anymore because he wants to prepare for it because this year he's turning 35. So, first, there are different types of special retirees residence visa or SRRV, and those are SRRV Classic, SRRV Courtesy, SRRV Expanded Courtesy, SRRV Human Touch, and SRRV Smile. Okay, so the SRRV Smile visa targeting young expats who plans to retire early, like the digital nomads, 35 years old and above, was suspended on October 2020. Well, actually, all of the visa types were suspended during that time because of the pandemic. But when they resumed the application for these visas last year, the SRRV Smile remains suspended until further notice. Like I said, the SRRV Smile is the one where you can retire early as 35 years of age, and that one is still suspended until now. So basically, my friend who was planning since 2018 to retire here when he turns 35 years old, it turns out that he cannot retire here. So he spent like 4 years, turning 5 years already here in the Philippines, hoping that he can retire here at the age of 35. He doesn't even have benefits even if he was paying his taxes. However, for the others out there, don't worry because all the SRRV Visa, Classic Courtesy, Expanded Courtesy, and Human Touch are available for any retirees 50 years old and above. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that is one of the big changes that happened and it started last year. That one is already covered. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, there is again one big change for the expats here in the Philippines. They are panicking. A new ordinance about a visa issuance took effect just this July 2022. Well, I say this July because my friends and my friends' friends are experiencing the same dilemma in their companies just this July. And if you check the official government websites, you cannot find any update yet as of today. So, what is this new ordinance all about? Are you ready? I'm just making you excited. Maybe some of you will not really be affected to this, but I know that there are a lot of foreigners out there who wants to work here in the Philippines. And this big change is for you. Okay, so the government implemented a new law for working expats in the Philippines where companies who have foreign employees are required to basically replace them with Filipinos. Well, that is good news for Filipinos, of course, right? And that is a nice change because it's in favor of us. So, the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or PEZA, which is the government agency in the Philippines that was assigned to implement this new ordinance, sent an instruction to companies about how they are going to follow this new law. In my understanding of this instruction, foreign employees have to train 2 Filipinos to take over the position of the foreign national. Like what? I mean, who wants to agree to that? I mean, if I am a foreigner and I will only be hired so I can train someone to replace me in my position, I mean, so what is the purpose? What's the point of applying for work here? What's the point of coming here to the Philippines to find a job? Very wrong. I will not. Sorry. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's just confusing to me that why did they make such an ordinance like that? Why they just don't say, no, you cannot hire foreigners. Companies, you cannot hire foreigners, just hire Filipinos. When the main reason why these companies hire the foreigners is because they couldn't find anyone that is qualified for the position. That is the only reason I can think of. So why do they hire foreigners here if a Filipino can do the job, right? That is the only reason that I can think of when you think about why companies here hire foreigners. So it's basically telling the foreigners indirectly, no, you cannot work here anymore. No. There's no work for you here. Or, oh yes, come in here. You're welcome to train our people, and then when they are ready, you can go. Well, let's see if there's an exception to that. Okay, so basically this new law is telling companies here to not employ foreign nationals anymore. And in addition to this, they lessen the number of foreign employees that companies can hire. Before, it's 10% of the total workforce. Now they lessen it to 5% only. The fact that they want to replace the foreign employees means that one day companies are not going to hire foreign nationals anymore unless companies can prove that Filipinos are not qualified to take the position. But even that, it won't work because the newly hired foreigners will be replaced once they already trained someone who will replace them. My only question here is what's going to happen to the foreign employee once the trainees are successfully trained for the foreigner's position? Where will the foreigner go? There is actually no explanation about that. I asked my friend what did the human resource officer told them, and they said they don't know because even the HRs don't know what will happen. So what about the expats who are working here for like 4 years already? If they are to be replaced, then that's it. Maybe you're confused also. I think I'm just going to read the new ordinance so that you can also interpret it yourselves. My friend sent it to me because I couldn't find it anywhere on Google yet. I'm just going to read it. Okay, so I'm going to read it from my phone. Okay, so it says here, employment of foreign nationals. Section 1, entitlement. Pursuant to Section 10 of the Act, Ecozone enterprises may employ foreign nationals in executive, supervisory, technical, and advisory positions, provided that executive positions shall pertain only to the President, Vice President, Treasurer, and General Manager, or their equivalents, provided, further, that the total number of foreign nationals employed by an Ecozone enterprise in supervisory, technical, or advisory positions shall not at any time exceed 5% of its workforce, unless expressly authorized by the Secretary of Labor and Employment. Provided that foreign nationals may be employed in supervisory, technical, or advisory positions only if it is certified by the Department of Labor and Employment that no Filipino within the Ecozone possesses the technical skills required thereof. Okay, Section 2, length of employment. An Ecozone enterprise may employ foreign nationals for a period not exceeding 5 years from its registration, extending within limited periods depending upon the need of the ecozone enterprise as determined by PEZA. Provided that the ecozone enterprise seeking such extension must have satisfactorily complied with the training program required under this section. Provided, however, that when the majority of the capital stock of an ecozone enterprise is owned by foreign nationals, the positions of president, treasurer, and general manager or their equivalents may be retained by foreign nationals. Section 3. Training Program and Annual Reports. An ecozone enterprise employing foreign national exercising supervisory, technical, or advisory functions shall provide a training program for Filipinos to be conducted by said foreign nationals, each in his own specialized line, provided that every foreign nationals shall have at least 2 Filipino understudies, and such training shall be done regularly during regular office hours, provided further that the ecozone enterprise shall submit its program for training Filipinos in the functions of the foreign national within 30 calendar days from arrival of said foreign national or from the day he reports for duty, or from the date of registration in case the foreign national was employed before registration. Provided, finally, that the ecozone enterprise shall submit an annual progress report to PEZA on such training program within the month of June each year containing the following data for the document to be submitted to PEZA to see if the company is complying with their new ordinance. So, name of the foreign national and his field of specialization as prescribed in the program. Names and address of Filipino understudies under him. Number of hours of actual training for each understudy and specific subjects covered. And reasons why Filipino understudies cannot yet take over the work of the foreign national if such be the case. So the only exception that I can see here is that when the majority of the capital stock of an ecozone enterprise or the company is owned by foreign nationals, the positions of president, treasurer, and general manager or equivalents may be retained by foreign nationals. So that is the only exception that I can see. Okay, so that's it. I don't know if our interpretation of this new ordinance is accurate, but as I said earlier in this video, I have friends and my friends' friends who are facing the same problem with their employment. Others got their working visa renewal denied already. Others are suddenly pending for approval. And I also know some who finally got approved, but immediately they also complied with having 2 Filipinos to be trained for the position. And their question is, so what is going to happen to us when the time comes? What do you think, guys? What do you think about this new law? Do you think this is fair, especially for expats who have been working here for a long time already? Does this mean you're not welcome to work here anymore? What do you think will happen to the foreign national after being replaced? Even themselves, they don't know. Even the HRs of the companies, they don't know also. Will they go to higher positions where they can be exempted from this law? I don't think it will be like that either. This is an example of a document the companies have to submit to the government for compliance. So this is my friends. This is a BPO company that hired a native French speaker, the 2 trainees, and these are the program or subjects to be covered in the training. And the companies have to submit a report every year to check if they have complied with the law. If the trainees are still trainees and the foreigner is still in the position, then companies have to justify why are the trainees not yet ready for the position. There are actually a lot of foreigners here working in BPO as bilinguals. Vietnamese, Thais, Chinese especially, because there are so many online casinos here owned by Chinese. French, Spanish, German. There are also a lot of tech companies here, architecture, engineering companies, Japanese companies where the majority of their employees are Japanese, same as most Chinese companies here. So, do you think these laws are just the beginning of something bigger in the future that will prevent foreigners from retiring or working here in the Philippines? Well, I can say, yeah, that will already prevent them from planning to work here. Or is this something good for the Philippines? Well, I hope so. First, they suspended the SRRB Smile, where foreigners can apply an early retirement as early as 35 years old. Now all the foreigners have to be replaced and lessen the number of working expats here. What do you think, guys? Do you think the Philippines is actually changing for the better or not? Maybe for us it's changing for the better, right? But let me know in the comment section what are your thoughts about it. Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Love you!